All
okay.
right. Welcome to the 2022 Philosophy and Strategy Ministry class. We have a special guest, Mr. Isaiah Swain. Who will be sharing with us. One of his many claims to fame is that he was a roommate of John Zotero on Capstone. So, all right. Well, Isaiah, give us a greeting and then let's hear some stuff about Zotero.
Hey guys, how's it going? We're going to talk about Zotero, but first I would like to point out that on Sunday, February 20th is Gabe Bruner's birthday. So everyone needs to wish him a happy birthday on that day.
Good to know. Good to know.
All right, so I'm just going to share my screen. If you want to do things on your computer as I'm talking about it, you can do that, or you can just sit back and listen. It doesn't matter to me. However you best learn how to use Zotero is up to you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You should see, you see my paper?
Yes.
Does my paper, is that probably not big enough for the screen? So here's my paper. And the problem is it needs citations. Zotero is the best way to do that. So according to the Zotero website, it is a free, easy to use tool to help you collect, organize, cite, and share information. Zotero is your personal research assistant. I don't know if you guys have seen the Marvel movies, but Zotero is basically Jarvis for Iron Man. It's great. In my opinion, Zotero is your best friend. Sorry, Caleb Moser. But why would you even want to use Zotero? Well, you're in Philosophies and Strategies of Christian Ministry, which means that about 24 hours before your due date, you're going to have a serious headache as you cram your paper to get it finished. And the last thing you want to be worrying about is making citations right. But luckily, Zotero can do that for you. You may protest and say, but I can plug in my sources into EasyBib or some other citation software that I used in high school. And my response is you could, but that takes a lot of time compared to Zotero even. With Zotero, you can actually make an entire bibliography in less than 10 mouse clicks, which I'm going to demonstrate now. So look at my screen, you can probably see all my stuff. I'm going to click Zotero, boom, 1 mouse click. And I want a bibliography for box B, 2 mouse clicks. Oh, that didn't count because it didn't work. Okay, we'll count it anyways. 3 mouse clicks because I screwed up. You're going to click create bibliography from collection. What's that, 4? All right, we'll go to MLA. 5. Okay, 6. Number 7 was getting us over to Word. And Control V. Wow, 7 mouse clicks, and we have a full bibliography for my box B. Wow. This is the part where you guys say wow.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, thank you. So by the end of this, you'll be able to do that too, and then it'll make PStrat just a lot easier because honestly, it kind of is a headache doing citations. I don't know where you guys are, if you've done box A or B or anything yet, but it makes it a lot, actually no, your semester just started. It makes it a lot easier if you just do it the right way the first time by using Zotero, and it is the right way. So there's 3 things you need to do to get Zotero. First is you need to get the Zotero desktop app, and then you have to link it with Microsoft Word, and you have to link it with your internet browser, so like Google Chrome or whatever else you use. So if you look at my screen now, all you got to do is go to Zotero. It's not .com, it's .org. Just go there and then hit log in and download. You'll be able to download the desktop app to your computer. It's pretty easy. The instructions are right there on your paper. The trickier part, and this is where I had trouble when I was first doing this as a freshman, was you have to link it to Microsoft Word. And so to do that, you got to go to the desktop app right here. So you can see this is my Zotero. And what you got to do is you go to edit, and these instructions are on your paper too. Edit. Actually, no, you don't go to edit. You go to preferences on my computer. I have a Mac and we're different apparently. And you can't see that because it's not, there you go. So then you go to word processors right here, and there'll be a button here that'll say install Microsoft Word add-in, and you just do that, and that's it. So again, the instructions are right there. That's all you got to do. But then you also have to have it. That's my email. You also have to have it on. Oops, that's not right. On your desktop. And so the way to do that is to go to zotero.org/download/connectors. Yep, there we go. And then boom, it's right there. You just click the big blue install button, pretty foolproof, can't miss it. And then you'll get this little button up here in the corner of my screen. You see that little thing? That's actually the Zotero button. Again, all these are written down on your piece of paper. So let's say that I want to add a source to my paper. Right now, my paper reads, Clinton Arnold, in his commentary on Ephesians, says that the apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers should equip the saints for the work of ministry for the edification of the body of Christ. Then my second paragraph says, C.S. Lewis really liked the Psalms, but unfortunately, young people are leaving the church like never before. That's a great paper. Please don't steal it. But what we're going to do is we need to find a source for young people leaving the church. Ideally, you will have had your sources before you write your paper. But 20-somethings are leaving the church. Quick Google search. Oh, nice. Barna. That's probably a good source. See if it'll load. 20-something struggle. Yep, that's what I want. So now you found your source and you have look, my little Zotero thing lit up. It's not gray anymore, it's blue. At least I hope that's blue. I click on that, and then you got to click this down button, and now I can pick wherever I want it to go in all my folders. You can see I have kind of a lot of Zotero folders, one for like all my classes, but I want it to go in my undergraduate folder. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click done. Now, if I go over back to Zotero, it just automatically put in all of this info for me, the title, the abstract. It missed the author, and that's because it probably didn't list one. So I'm just going to put Barna. There's probably a better way to do this. You'll have to look it up. Yeah, Barna Group. Looks like I've said that before. And it's got the website title, and then you got to type in the date. There you go. You got that in there. And so now I have that source, which I needed for this sentence. But I also need a source for my Clinton Arnold sentence. And so what I'm going to do, I don't know if you can still see me or not, but I need to add this commentary on Ephesians by Clinton Arnold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually enter that in. On Google Chrome or any other internet browser, you can sometimes go to the library and find a book. And then from the library website, you can actually use the Zotero button to enter in the book information. So that's a good trick that makes it a lot faster. But there will probably be a lot of times where you're in the library and you have the book in your hands. And so you might as well just type in the information manually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and hit the little add button. I'm going to go to book. The title of the book is just Ephesians. The author is Clinton Arnold. There we go. Then the editor. I need to add the editor of the series. Any information that you need to add can probably be added on here. So a translator can be added, another contributor. You can figure all that out and add it. This commentary is a part of a series, and so you'll want to include that. It's in the exegetical commentary on the New Testament, and I believe it is number 10. It was published in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Publisher is Zondervan. Summer academic, I bet. And it was published in 2010. And the short title is Ephesians. For the short title, a lot of times, if there's if there were a book title that was like Ephesians, comma, Paul's letter, or something like that, a lot of times the part that goes after the comma is the subtitle, or not the comma, the colon. And so for the short title, you just want to put the stuff before the colon. But in this case, we didn't need to do that, so we just had Ephesians. So now that's added. And then actually, for our last sentence, C.S. Lewis really liked the Psalms. I think I might have something on C.S. Lewis in my library. So I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to use the search bar, and I'm going to search Reflections on the Psalms. Oh, there we go. So I have C.S. Lewis in here, and so I can just click this and drag it over to a new folder. So if you've ever used a source in any other class, and you were using Zotero, you can just click and drag your sources into new folders. That way you can have them all together however you want to organize them. So that can make things a lot faster. So now we have our 3 sources right here in our undergrad folder. That's good. Now we want to cite the sources. So to cite them in Microsoft Word, you're going to need Word opened, obviously, but you also have to have your Zotero desktop app open. All right, it doesn't need opened on your internet browser, and the actual app that you downloaded to your computer needs to be open. You don't need to be anywhere in particular, it just needs to be like active. So what I'm going to do is I want to do the Psalms citation first. So I'm just going to click right here, because in MLA, the parenthetical citation goes after the words and before the period. And so then I'm going to have this Zotero button up here, and I'm going to click on it. I'm just going to hit add citation. Oh, you can't see this one. And then you're going to have this little button pop up, this little box. You're going to click MLA because that's what you do for PStrat, or at least that's the last I heard. You'll go ahead and hit OK. And now, oh, you can't see this. Oh yeah, you can. I can drag it. So this nifty little search bar is going to magically appear. All right. And so once you find that search bar, you're going to type in what you want to type, and it'll search it, and some options will appear down below. So you can see that I have 2 editions of Reflections on the Psalms, and I can tell which ones is which because of the date and the publishing location. And so I'm going to want to click this one. So just make sure you take care of that if you have multiple editions in your Zotero. So I'm going to click that, and I want to cite pages 12 to 59. So what you do is you just type it directly into the search bar, and then it'll make it Lewis, the date, the pages, and then you just hit enter. And now you can see my citation is right there perfectly. So next I'm going to add really quick. We're going to add the 20-somethings one. Go. No page number because it's just its own thing. And then we'll add the Clinton Arnold thing. Oh no, but when I clicked Arnold, I realized I typed it in wrong. That's a problem. We're going to want to fix that. But as you see I'm at D now. You do not want, it's the only thing bolded on the entire piece of paper. So go ahead and read that. Do not edit the citation in Microsoft Word. Instead, edit the citation through Zotero. So if I click on any of these, you'll notice that they highlight into gray. And the reason they're highlighting is because Zotero actually has control over those citations right now. They're linked between Zotero and Microsoft Word. And so because of that, you can do a bunch of different things with them that makes things a lot easier moving on. And so one of them is updating the citation. So let's say you went through your entire paper, you wrote like a 60-page PStrat paper, and you cited Arnold like 50 times. You don't want to go through to every single citation and fix his name if you realize that you misspelled it wrong. That's just a waste of time. Maybe you needed to do that back in the day of the typewriter, but we don't need to do that anymore. We can just go to our Zotero and fix it. So what you're going to do is you realize this is not correct. You're going to go over to Zotero, click on the source, find where the incorrect information is, and you're just going to retype it in correctly, Arnold. All right. That's all I did. And now I'm going to go back here, and under the Zotero tab, there will be a button called refresh. And I'm going to click refresh. Whoa, it fixed. It's all fixed. If you ever click unlink citations, then the gray will disappear and they will no longer be linked. But you generally don't ever want to do that, because you want to be able to have Zotero control your citations. It wouldn't matter for a paper this big, because there's only 3 citations. It's pretty easy to manage. But as your paper grows and grows and grows, like it will this semester, you will be thankful that you can control everything easily with Zotero, or else we wouldn't be having this part of class time right now.
Sure.
So let's say you want to change the style from MLA to Chicago. You might want to do this if, for example, you wrote your PSTRAP paper and then decided you needed to apply for a grant for your ministry and needed to switch it to Chicago style. The way you would do that is super easy. You just go to document preferences up here, click on it, and now you see all these options, right? You got APA, Chicago, and MLA. So you're going to click Chicago full note and hit OK. It's doing its thing. There we go. Now, instead of having in-text citations like MLA, you now have footnotes. And all you need to do is switch where the period is, because you see the period's in the wrong place. But that was way easier than going through one by one for, you're probably going to have hundreds of citations in your PSTRAP paper, or at least like nearly 100. And so you're going to want to know how to do stuff like this in case something goes wrong. If you can do everything perfectly all the time, I mean, don't worry about this, but I can't. So, and so then lastly, after this, we're going to want to add a bibliography. And so like I showed you, you can do that by going over here, but actually, if you have Zotero on your Microsoft Word, you can actually just click this button up here that says add bibliography, and it does everything for you. Boom, there's bibliography. That was it. So you can see it's a lot faster than doing it by hand, and then a lot faster than using EasyBib or other citations, stuff like that. And now the other thing about Zotero is that you can actually take notes. And so over here, you have your info tab where you type in all your publisher information, but then you can also go to notes and add some notes. Arnold is a good source. Boom, that's great. Let's go to my box B for my PSTRAP paper and then click on this one. You can see I have 2 sets of notes right here, identity. So there's a quote about identity in young adults, religion in young adults. Oh, these were great sources. Let's click on this one. Ooh, characteristics of emerging adults. So I have all these notes here from a year ago that I can, basically forever come back and get to, because your Zotero is also backed up online. So even if your computer is, destroyed in a rampaging fire, you can go online and re-download all your stuff if you back it up. All right, so lastly, I want to talk about how to collaborate using Zotero. And so let's say you're doing your PSTRAP paper and someone says, you're doing a similar project as someone else, and so you want to say like, hey man, like I want some sources about box C, and you want to just send them your sources so that they can look through it. All you're going to do is go over to box C, like I did. You're going to right click on it, and you're going to hit export collection. Kind of like you would export a PDF, and you just click that. You can hit to send them your notes or not. That's kind of your decision. And then you hit OK, and then it'll pop up somewhere. There we go. Box C, save to desktop. And so you can't see it because it's on my other screen, but it makes all of your sources into an RDF file, and anyone with Zotero can open that file and then import it into their Zotero. So you can share resources super easily that way. Let's say I only want to share this one, Spiritual Formation, Emerging Adulthood. This is a really good source for anyone doing young adult ministry. You just right click, hit export item, and then you do the same exact thing. Just hit OK, and then hit OK, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to cancel. But the last way that you can collaborate using Zotero is through group libraries. And so, like I said, Zotero is also online. And so if you go to zotero.org, you can actually log in and be invited to join different groups. And so there's a group called the PSTRAT group. It's called Philosophy and Strategies Ministry. And there's like, I think 13 people in it from the year before me and my year. So not everyone cares to do it, which is fine. But Hank will be an admin for that shortly if he's not already. And he'll be able to send an invitation link to your email. Once you get that link, you can just accept the invite, and then you'll be able to join the group. Excuse me. And then if you look on my screen over here in Zotero, you can see there's my library right here. And this is all of my stuff. But then there's also group libraries. And then there is a PSTRAT section right here. And so if we click it open, looks like we can get to Garrett Eichenberry's paper, Garrett Kaiser's. I don't know whose that is. That's not mine. There's Josh, there's mine, and then there's Tyler Markham's paper. So you guys will hopefully be out of that, and then you can work together a lot easier and share notes and share sources, and it'll be a good time, or at least a more bearable time. Are there any questions about using Zotero?
Could you show us, they're on the, because they'll all have access to, I guess, your paper. Could you just open up your paper and show us like how you have it organized?
Yeah, so I organized mine more thoroughly than everyone else. I think Garrett had his pretty well done. Sources, yeah. So see, here's Garrett's, and he has, box A, B, C, D, E, and he has even a lot of different things under here, under box A. And I did kind of a similar thing. I have my introduction, box A, B, C, D, E. Under box A, I had my different sections. Box B, looks like my box B, truths about the world, was sin, scripture, local church, social justice, and evangelism. I should have known that. And then identity. So you can be as organized with making different folders as you want to be. There's no limit. Also, I don't think I mentioned this, but Zotero is completely free. It's a nonprofit, so they don't like take data from you or anything like that. Like they're just a nonprofit trying to help people. So,
Isaiah, another question. So this box you're on right now, Frank, these are the articles that our class read for today. I noticed that one's a blue book and the other ones are little white things. What does that mean?
So when you put in different sources, different types of sources, they'll have a different icon. And so it looks like philosophy of education, I cited as a book. And then philosophy of ministry was a dictionary entry, which is why it has the little letter inside of a piece of paper. And I'm pretty sure all these are dictionary entries. And so if you go to other sources, let me find one. It looks like this is a magazine article. You see it has a different logo. Then down here, this is a journal article, which looks like a little essay paper.
So students, if you're writing your intro paper this week and you wanted to cite one of those articles, it's nice that you could just copy those into your intro. And if you're taking notes on them, you could add your own notes. Or Isaiah, do you have notes on any of those articles?
Oh yeah, probably all of them.
Let's see one of your notes. Oh, yeah, so there's some quotes that said to Isaiah, but of course
Yeah.
you might have different ones.
There's more.
Thanks. Other questions for Isaiah?
What kind of overhead did you have to go through, like in starting Zotero? Because it's like, I feel like it will be really easy once I have like a system set up. But since I don't have a system set up right now, it feels a little intimidating. Like, can you walk me through the overhead process of like starting Zotero?
Yeah, you just gotta start by putting sources in. Like when I started using Zotero, probably my sophomore year, pretty regularly. Well, you can probably tell when I started if you look at my classes. Maybe it was my junior year. Yeah, I mean, I started with one source. And then as it grew and grew, you just keep adding sources, and then it makes it a lot easier. So you probably have in mind, I think you all had to do a bibliography of like 20 sources for the first day of class or something. At least I remember doing that. You could just start there with putting them in. And again, the quick way would be, go to the library. I think you guys can still see my screen. The quicker way is to go to the library, type in Ephesians, Clinton Arnold, and then go to the library page and then cite with Zotero, because that way all the information will have pulled up and then it'll just copy it over immediately. And of course, you have to go in and fix it yourself a lot of the times. But all right, so right here. Yep, see it turned into a book up here. So it's going to cite this as a book. No. Yeah, okay. I don't know why that popped up. There we go. So magnet to P-strap done. And then here it is right here. There's all the info. And of course I have to go in and like capitalize this. And then I have to take away the little V from series number. I mean, that took like 3 seconds, So I would use the library's website to help you cite stuff quicker.
So the place to start, I think, would just be create a folder that says pstrat, and then I would create a folder, or just create a folder that says intro, and then all your intro sources could go in there. Box A, or you could just have one where you have everything. But in ministry, and all of you are going to be writing books, right, Eiley? And Josh, what's Josh's last name? Pastoring in Detroit.
Yes.
Munoz. Marco told me yesterday, I'm like, I don't know. He was asking me about resources for teens deconstructing their faith and how to train volunteers. I'm like, you should ask Isaiah and Ben and see if they've written a book yet about it. If not, you should write the book. So, but it's a great resource for you to keep track of stuff after Taylor too.
I'll also just say, like, you can't really get around. It's intimidating when you first create that first folder and you're like, there's nothing in here. But then after you create that second folder and put like your first source in there, it's just a very quick slope of just like, oh, it's just easy to do. And it's to the point where, like, when I first did it, I was like, oh, I just have so much I should have put in here earlier. And then I didn't. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do that later. I don't know. You can always, I don't know. It's harder to play catch up than it is to get ahead now. That's one thing that's very important. Oh, it's also very easy. It's like, even putting books in manually, once you've done it twice, you're like, oh, I just need this and this. And then you already have one source. It takes like, I don't know, when I was putting them in for my P-strap paper proposal, I forgot about the library website. So I was just putting them manually. It took me like less than 10 minutes to put all 20 sources in. It's not, it seems hard and new and confusing. Once you do it like twice, it's like, oh, it's really easy. It just looks scary at first.
And I did my whole P-strap paper, and then I did 2 master's degrees. And then when I was in my PhD program, I discovered Zotero. So I was like, oh, I wish I'd known about this when I was in college. Oh, I wish I'd known about this when I did my first master's. Oh, I wish I'd known about this when I wrote my second master's thesis. So none of that stuff do I have in my Zotero account. But if you guys start now, you'll be able to build on it, for a long time, or until you find something better, which maybe will happen. But this is free, so it's nice. All right, Isaiah, thank you so much. Any other questions before we change the channel?
How do you so with classes? I have a ton of PDFs, just a ton of PDFs that I've been putting in Zotero since like a year ago. And now my Zotero storage is full because the PDFs are saved inside of Zotero, and now it's too big. What do you recommend I do about that? Because now it won't back up.
If you go to Zotero preferences and you go to, I just saw this right here, file handling. if you go to automatically attach associated PDFs, you just uncheck that and then it stops doing that where it attaches the PDF. Because it sounds like that's what's causing the problem, is that they have a bunch of attached PDFs in there. And so you can stop it from automatically doing that. I don't know how you would get rid of the ones already in there. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't happened to me yet. That would probably be a Google search about Zotero. I'm sure someone else has asked that. That's what I would do.
Well, thank you, Isaiah. This has been, I think, the best Zotero presentation I've seen, and certainly the best one for P-Strat class, because I think, even if we feel a little overwhelmed today, by a couple of weeks from now, what you're saying is going to make sense, and it's going to save us a huge amount of work and effort over the course of the semester. So thanks so much for taking this time to do this for us and putting together this handout. We'll give them a hand. And then, I noticed that last year there was a kind of mascot that appeared. I believe this is the mascot here. And I was wondering if you could share with us a little bit about this golden duck and its significance and how it should be handled from one generation to the next.
Well, when we were on P-Strat, Phil went up a mountain and he just took so long to come back down that we decided we were going to make this golden duck. No, I'm just kidding. As you may know, you guys got to go to Chicago, but our class we got sent to Miracle Camp instead. So we didn't get all sick and get a bunch of people sick. So we were me and several other people, I think Tyler Markham and Drew Collins, maybe Cheyenne King and Maddie Martinson. I know Maddie was there. We're walking around in the woods, way back in the woods behind Miracle Camp, which is this camp in Michigan. Some of you know what I'm talking about. So we were walking down by a lake and also walking on a frozen lake, which was a lot of fun. And we found a duck decoy frozen in the ice. So we took it and named it Oz. That's his name, after Oz Guinness. But Phil didn't like that. And so we, I guess, spray painted it gold. I don't really know how that happened, but I guess it's gold now. So pass it on. It's a golden duck.
Does the duck need to come to P-Strat class, or who does it go with? Or, I mean, is there some kind of special handling of the duck?
What we did is after class, someone takes him and you're the caretaker of the duck. So you just bring him back next class, put him in your backpack or your dorm or whatever. That's what we did. So.
All right, and in some way, is he kind of like a guardian angel for you and for the class in terms of just overseeing things and making sure you don't quack up and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. Phil would threaten us with the duck. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, well, I've been the custodian of the golden duck for some time now, ever since, I guess it was Maddie who brought me the golden duck, and it's had a place of honor in my office in preparation for this moment. So
Like screwed on one of the shelves.
oh, sure. Place of honor. So I'm going to give the golden duck to Caleb, who will be the first caretaker. And Isaiah, maybe you could just say a prayer for this class, for Caleb in particular, but for this class as a whole, as they get ready to go and continue on in this P-Strat journey. And then we will sign off.
Yeah, sure thing. I got to thank you for bringing these great Christian leaders together at Taylor to be trained and equipped and empowered to lead your church and your people. I pray that everyone in this class would just not feel anxious about P-Strat. I don't know what they've heard about the class, or how they've been anticipating it for the past 3 years, 3.5 years. But I pray you just calm them and help them just do the work excellently. God, I pray that you would open their minds just to think deeper about ministry, to think about the underlying things that go on in ministry and the assumptions people have. And I pray you would just prepare them to be good, critical Christian leaders who know what they're doing and know why they're doing it, and most importantly, who they're doing it for. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Man. Well, thank you so much, Isaiah. Super appreciate you coming to join us. And we will hopefully get to make good use of Zotero this semester.
Sounds good.
All right. Blessings.
Yep, see ya.